Welcome back everyone to episode 2. So we're now back in the exploration age, and as we get started I'm going to kind of take you through what the plan is and how do we actually try and maximize the number of points we're going to score in this age. Essentially we are able to spend on a number of personality traits, I'll show you those in a second, but also some abilities to help us excel in this exploration age. But before we plan all of that out, let me talk you through how do you actually get or maximize the 12 points that you can make in this exploration age. Now, on the culture side, this is essentially about studying piety, founding your own religion, and then spreading it as much as you possibly can to, depends on the religion you pick, a specific target. And as you spread it out, you will basically earn relics, and you're looking to get 12 of them to essentially score the maximum number of points in culture. Economic is actually quite tricky. This is the one that I think I would struggle the most with in terms of completion. So you are trying to basically create treasure fleet points. So you are meant to explore the world, find treasure in distant lands, settle them, and essentially send that treasure back home. Now, because of the time it takes to actually create these treasure fleets and actually find them, this tends to take by far the longest of all of the possible victories in the exploration age. On the military side, you basically gain 12 points from settling in distant lands. Home lands do not count. You get 1 point for each settlement in distant lands. It's doubled if it's actually following my religion, and it's quadrupled if I actually happen to have taken it away from somebody, essentially conquered it. So you can essentially just conquer 3 different cities on distant lands from the AI, and if you do so and convert it to your religion, you've completed the military. Fairly easy victory. The last one around science is entirely about having these specialists that we haven't talked about so far, essentially getting a substantial number of yields from specific districts. Now, when you're actually allocating your population, you want to make sure that you pick high yield tiles that would be able to give you 40 in total, with specialists of course, and that would actually grant you the science victory. You need to have 5 such districts that are not the city center. So, what does all of that mean? First thing is we're going to have to settle wide. When we talk about distant lands, you can essentially switch on the continent lens, and you can see these types of treasures. You can see it says distant lands treasure resource. I literally can only see just the one on the left hand side here. Nothing on the right hand side, so this is actually quite tricky. We have to basically find as many of these as we can, settle as many of these as we can, and send them back home to our towns. Settling wide definitely helps. And with that in mind, one last thing that definitely helps is having high yields on our tiles. So really kind of let's plan this out and think through how do we want to progress this. Anything that allows us to progress through the culture and science tree quickly, immensely helpful because this is how I can increase my yields. Secondly, anything that would allow to give me extra population, for example, to get those treasures, extra settlement limits to allow me to settle wide, even getting influence points with befriending city-states and independent people. These are all helpful towards helping me progress through the age. So that's essentially what I'm going to do. First, I'm going to use the additional point that I have. I get an extra one. I don't know if I'm going to have any alliances, so this is probably not the most useful. I want to work towards extra resource capacity in town so that I can actually use these. And that's my 1 point. And then let's choose our legacies and begin the exploration age. So, settlement limit, done. One thing to note as I'm going through this is you essentially have groups of, this is essentially like the military one, so you can spend the 3 points that we had, I've already spent 2 of them, plus 1 more towards military or expansionist attributes. The key thing here is that you are actually limited to only 2 of an attribute point. That's the personality traits that we were looking at earlier. So in some cases, particularly the economic one, you basically have to pick only one economic attribute, and then at least either the Silk Road's Golden Age, which is all of our cities from the previous age remain, frankly, very good, or plus 15 gold. I think I'm going to go for the extra 15 gold. When it comes to science, same challenge, that essentially we need to pick one of these, so either Collector's Knowledge for plus 13 science, or the Great Library Golden Age, which basically turns all of our academies into Golden Age academies and actually retains our yields on these academies. Now, that's something that you're going to have to be familiar with when it comes to the age mechanics in Civilization 7, is when you progress these through the age, with the exception of ageless buildings, all the old buildings basically kind of become a bit rubbish. Their yields are limited and they actually cause unhappiness, unless you happen to pick something like that. Right, and then if you get an option to change the capital, usually take it, unless you've actually picked the Silk Road's Golden Age, where you've actually have all of your cities retained. What this does is allows you to essentially create yet a second city. Now, Wasat, which is our existing capital, will remain as a city, but if we change capitals, and this one here is on the coast, I don't think Axum is. Yeah, it isn't. So being able to build anything to actually go and explore isn't very useful here. So I'm going to take this city, and now let's think about spending the remaining points. So on the culture side, less of a challenge. That's why I sort of skipped it, because both diplomacy and culture are here. So you can literally just spend it all on attributes, which is quite helpful. On here, because you also have the concept of a wild legacy point, I can get one of each, military and expansionist, and that's all of my legacies confirmed. Let's spend our 7 attribute points. Now, studying towards civic mastery is gaining 25%, fantastic. Getting 15% towards construction of buildings in science, excellent. Extra settlement limit, so we are with plus 3 extra towns right now, which is fantastic. Diplomacy, I'm going to work towards the 50% points towards befriending independent nations, so that will help. The rest of this tree is actually, maybe just the extra happiness is actually going to be helpful, so I'm going to do that. On the economic side, yeah, going towards resource capacity in towns, I think that's kind of the plan, and plus 21 gold straight away, that's excellent. And then we'll work towards the gain 1 population in towns, and plus 15% yields in towns with a specialization, or 30% in distant lands. So that's as well as we're going to be able to do at this point. Now, on the next turn, independent towns are basically going to spawn. So whilst I can plan around, for example, this gold, I'd love to grab it. This natural wonder, I would love to grab it. The challenge that we have here is that there's a lot of space still left in our homelands that I don't know where they're going to spawn. And depending on what they are, I may actually want to retain them to get some of their bonuses rather than actually disperse them. 15 gold per turn, yes please. Resources. I find it very helpful to basically just remove everything and plan again from scratch at the start of the age. Where do our yields make the most sense? Focus first on the 2 towns that we have, or the 2 cities. You can see that Baghdad has the higher culture. Sorry, Wasat has the higher culture. Not surprising, because it has a lot more wonders. So getting the 10% extra culture on here makes the most amount of sense. The rest of it, not hugely helpful really. It could basically go anywhere. Let's put the camel in Baghdad to give it a bit more space. Given this is on the coast, boosting production and growth here might actually make the most amount of sense. So 20% production towards units, yes please. Growing it even faster with mangoes makes sense. So So it depends where I'm going to found my religion. I'm just going to put it anywhere for now. The extra food. Let's grow Baghdad more. Right, do we want any of these? Extra production in Baghdad, yes. Extra happiness, if I can, because you can see I'm starting at minus 4.5 still in Wasat. Just, this is going to be down to the old buildings, and then I'm just going to spread the rest around. Doesn't actually matter when it comes to the towns, in my opinion. Done. Government-wise, plutocracy is my favorite when it comes to the exploration age. Extra 20% gold or extra production towards overbuilding. And our first research, now to be able to get started with the whole building of treasure fleets, you really want to make your way towards shipbuilding. So first, cartography helps me cross the oceans. Then we're going to make our way towards shipbuilding. Then we're going to figure out what's next. And then we're going to get our religion going as soon as possible. Now the question is, what do I want to do with the army commander? I really don't think I'm going to go to war with Napoleon, given our status, our relationship's already at plus 42. But Amina could easily betray me at any point, and Himiko is really cornered here, so she may go after me. But I think Amina feels like the more likely target. Anyway, positioning my commander halfway between them feels like the right decision. Right, the towns have spawned. Let's have a look. So I definitely want to befriend the scientific ones, cultural ones, and economic ones if I can. I mean, this one in particular feels like it's going to be dispersed by Napoleon very soon, given its proximity to him. So I'm going to try and befriend them first. And it's going to take 10 turns. Fingers crossed they're going to last that long. I may have to spend more influence to speed that up. Get my settlers ready. And start crossing the ocean. On homeland, I mean, I definitely want to get a settler towards this ASAP, so I am going to purchase a settler and send it on quite the grand trip here. Probably from this town. Until you get to shipbuilding, you could see that our ships are actually going to take damage every time they are crossing the ocean, and they can only advance one tile at a time. So you really want to try and minimize their time out there. Right, we can found our own religion. Getting merchants going to actually boost our gold income, not a bad idea. I'm actually going to head, given I've got one boat to the top, one to the middle, I'm going to take the scout south. One more turn before I can befriend the next town. Okay, let's just get you into the water ASAP. I would have loved to settle here. May want to disperse them to grab the 2 camels. Tempting, the navigable river. That's all goodness. So I may end up doing that.
The map was a...
Right. Science, please. And then I'm just gonna beeline shipbuilding. Try and get to it ASAP. Let's get our religion going. There we go. Our first glimpse of distant lands on the east. That's quite far, actually. You will find shipwrecks along the way. They usually give you various bonuses. Think of them as our goodie huts from the first age. Hopefully this is going to survive getting there. Sure, extra happiness. Why not? Let's get our temples going and get our religion started.
Wealth, sir, there exists.
Getting Tomb of Askia. Fantastic wonder. I'm going to get that started. Trade opportunity. Plenty of opportunities for trade. Let's grab this. What can I get? Extra influence. Yes, please. And you can see it actually healed my unit, which is excellent. I should probably grab that. And see if it will actually heal my unit as well. Three turns of happiness versus what would probably be 1 turn of production. Yeah. I'm tempted to actually get them attacking and dispersing this nation. Like, there's a chance of me wanting to befriend them is very low. So let's do that, and let's get my archers joining this army commander to take them out. That's 1, that's 2. I thought I had a 3rd. Yes, I do. Extra gold? Why not? Extra production towards overbuilding, since that's predominantly what I'm doing right now. Yes. And let's get... I think I have to pick up my religion first. Yes. Right, let's talk about our religion. I mean, given we're playing Abbasids, let's keep this with Islam. Let's add our beliefs. You have a ton of options around our beliefs. This is the way that you're going to create relics in this age. I find that icons, so 2 relics for the first time conversion of a city-state, the easiest one to complete. Essentially, convert 6 city-states towards your religion and you're done. Now, having extra gold by having foreign settlements follow your religion, immensely powerful in my opinion. Done. Sure, I'd prefer the extra culture attribute. And let's get going with missionaries, please. That didn't actually heal my ship. Shame. Now you can see I'm not keen about the fact that the settler is out there exploring on its own, but we're trying to make our way down here if needed, but hopefully along the way we're going to find other treasure that we're going to settle immediately.
I worked my...
Got enough influence to get after our next independent town. I'm probably going to heal up for a turn here, and this one is nearly dead, so... No, given I need to figure out where this settler is going, I need to carry on exploring. And so far, no treasure. our first distant land AI, Tekumesh. I'm sorry, I'm not going to agree to anything that you have or give you friendly greetings. I want to retain my influence to befriend a few more towns. Thank you. Observatory. I can build it next to the library, which is not a bad shout. The grist mills, they're phenomenal. You can see I've accumulated a ton of gold and I haven't done anything useful with it. This and the food that it gives me, fantastic. Not over the moon about the fact we're going to have to navigate open water once again with a settler. That's already damaged. Right, we talked a little bit about the science one already. Now, I find that picking the unique districts immensely helpful. So I can absolutely load up on here, surround it with wonders, and that would be one way of getting a lot of yields. Also the fact that I have a Golden Age Academy, which I can add more science buildings into it, would be helpful. I'm going to bet on the next. So far I only have one economic one, so I'm always tempted with 5% gold for every city-state, the trade route range, extra food, and 10% gold in my capital, probably worth it as well. Right, now that we've got our religion and the first of the wonders unlocked, question is there any wonder that I want to beeline right now? And I think the answer to that is probably no. I'm more tempted to go down the Abbasid civics and complete the next unique district. Let's get this into the capital. And actually, since I am building right, no treasures. This is not helpful. Let's get this one going. And here's our first treasure that we're going to be able to settle soon. Question is, given the proximity to this wonder, do I want to retain Isfahan or not? And I think the answer is should be able to survive one more turn. That's in the ocean. I should be able to grab it and survive, so I am going to do that. One turn of culture, 2 turns of happiness. And let's get these towns converted now and earn ourselves our first 2 resources here. Definitely settling next to them and making sure that I can grab them next. So that's a good find. Axum was previously a city, so I'm tempted to actually convert it to one and actually build the wonder here. We turn this one into a bit of a super tile. I think that's the answer, so build it here. Extra technology, yep, it's my favorite. Extra gold, I should actually start spending this gold now. Nothing yet because I haven't been trading. I should actually start trading and boost my yields a bit that way. Let's actually start spending all of that money that we have. Incredibly cheap buildings that give you so much yield in return, so these are always worthwhile investments. I just should be prioritizing more. Let's disperse this town. There's an incredible number of swordsmen here. Not ideal. Oh, fresh water. Just do a bit of a reveal. Let's just think about this. So, maximum distance you can go for is 3 tiles. So if I settle here, the whale and die will be too far. If I go for this spot, that feels like it's giving me access as well to the jade, so that's going to be my settlement location, and that will be my first treasure. I think you're better off healing at this point. You're very nearly gone. First town. Fishing key. Placing the fishing key, you kind of want to think around, this is where the treasure fleet will spawn, so the closer towards home it is, the better. And let's do just that. Then we can heal you up next. Of course, Amina. Of course.
Baghdad? Yes.
Gonna do something. Yeah, you had a town right next to you. Let's befriend them. And they can be a sore spot for you. Extra culture. Extra gold. Right, let's get a cog nearby. And that will actually help protect this navigable river. Extra science. Oh, legend unlock? Yes. Can't believe how few treasures there are in distant lands. This is incredible. Right. Gonna have to do something about this. Now let me just clear this, disperse them, probably settle these camels. Then we'll figure out where we go from there. I want to work towards this treasure by a fleet commander so we can start upgrading it. And we can start bombarding them safely from the ocean. Thank you very much. You can become a man-at-arms. Much better chance of resisting. Ooh. Right, so there's 2 treasures there, similar to what we had in the east. Anything else from the Abbasid civics? I'm also tempted to improve my religion. An extra additional belief and relic might make my missionaries a bit more useful. Dresser. Yeah, that will create a super tile in here. Let me just have a look where would the mosque go. That is the highest yield tile as well. So you may have noticed that the unique quarters require 2 buildings, and to make sure you don't make it difficult for yourself and accidentally not complete it, I always queue them up. Let's get another cog here. We want to head east again. Though how far away are we from shipbuilding? Actually, it doesn't matter. We don't really need to heal up. We'll be fine. Extra 15% production towards buildings and wonders with great slots. Absolutely. And supposedly this is the better spot. It does have me in range of the ivory, the fish. I would agree. And then there's jade here. Extra culture. It'll actually complete shipbuilding as well when I do that. Half tempted to wait one turn purely to be able to get something that's a bit better for my free sort of upgrade, so to speak. Be ready to cross the ocean and explore what else is to our east next turn. Shipbuilding done. Shipbuilding 2. Extra culture. So I'm just trying to remember where I'm actually building it. It's replacing the blacksmith in yeah, so I'm gonna put the extra in here, and that hopefully will start to increase my yields there. Alright, I fully expanded the borders, just pick the best. Get another settler to grab these 2 camels. And the tea. And this town should start spawning treasure fleet soon. I actually haven't got anything to spend my influence on, so I'm making friends with everyone that frankly I care to. I could speed this up a bit so it's a bit more of a nuisance to Amina, which I will do. And now with shipbuilding done, you can see I can navigate the oceans much quicker, which is exactly what I'm going to do. Start exploring. Try and find some more treasures, really. 4 is just not going to cut it to be able to complete this in time.
Wherever you may be.
Tomb of Askia. Extra culture point. Science. More treasure. Let's figure out what we're going to do with this belief. So if I'm going to be settling more, having this quality of life upgrade with conversion, so that when I settle new towns in distant lands with my religion, that is helpful. But since I've already settled before it, I think having something that would give me extra chargers or extra movement, both very tempting. I mean, extra movement on all naval and embarked units, that's such a bonus. So yes, we can actually get to the House of Wisdom, so I'll research here. Let's grow for everything that just gives us more yields, really. Extra culture, out of range, really. You can see that later on, these are not very helpful. I mean, 1 turn of happiness, not even 1 turn of culture, but me picking them up is much better than my opponents picking them up, so I'll still pursue them aggressively. Actually, a town to try and befriend there. I didn't really want to be in range of the archer, but can't be helped. And somebody's befriending them. Machiavellian. Welcome. Let's see if we can actually beat you to them. Right. Tons of options that will give me extra science. Receiving an extra population. Easiest way of completing the science tree in the exploration age. So that's what I'm going to do. Every time I suzerain a state, I basically will be able to place extra population in my capital, which is fantastic. Actually going to deliberately think around where to research next. Now that we've got all the way to shipbuilding, I am very specifically going to look for this icon, where it allows me to increase my specialist limits. So if we can find any that are earlier, that's the one I'm going to pursue. started befriending them. I am going to have to add more influence here to make sure that I grab them first. Then I'm going to have to run away with this cog to make sure it survives. Yeah, I'm ahead now, and I'm going to have to, unfortunately, check it pretty much every turn to make sure Machiavellian is not sneaking in ahead of me. Right, we haven't done anything with trading yet, so we've got to fix that. Free experience. Who can complain? Do I want to settle this? I may have to. Because so far I've only managed to get 4. So another settler feels necessary. Get the temple going in here. And I definitely need to work a bit harder on spreading my religion. I haven't done a good job so far.
The master.
Remember, especially for foreign towns, I get extra yields, so I should be doing that. I get extra gold in particular. First, treasure fleet. Still ahead. Yeah. Second treasure fleet. Having a town here would be excellent. I should probably do that. Otherwise, I'd have to go all the way here for 6 turns, so I might do just that. For now, I'm going to go and grab this shipwreck. I think right now science is behind. So the extra scientific attribute point, yes please. Extra golden happiness, extra 20 science. Let's go for golden happiness for now. Who's got the most gold? 14, 17, 21. What's that it is? Extra combat strength, absolutely. Still ahead. Keep my influence just in case. Get this settler done. And we should be spending my gold on merchants and missionaries. I keep saying that and then ignoring it. This town, this science town, I'll try and befriend them next. I'm not trying to settle this area. And we'll get these guys to go away, frankly. You can make your way over now. We're gonna try and conquer this town. So they're following my religion. Isfahan isn't. I mean, there's quite a few towns I should just basically just aggressively pursue now. I'm going to start on maneuver next, and once again extra specialist limit. So I'm going to pursue these, and then I'll figure out what's next. University with the academy. Yes, please. That's our first district with over 40 yields. Right, how are we doing? Culture, need to spread my religion. Economic, started to earn my fleet points. Military, I've settled distant land, but I actually haven't converted it to my own religion, so I'm not doing too well there. Settler, we're definitely going to have to pursue. Should have actually checked before I spent it. Yeah, I'm still ahead. Bat strength. It'll complete. I mean, any of these. I mean, all 3 tiles here are almost certainly going to become plus 40 when done. The university. A spot that I really want to pursue, right next to Takamesh. Tukamesh. The answer to that is yes, too small. Probably next turn, 2 turns away. Population 5 before I can spawn a settler. Civics wise, we've got to start thinking about some of these. So extra settlement limit, absolutely helpful. But at the same time, anything that would give me an exceptional one. Right, so she's only got the 1 city left. I don't necessarily want to take her out of the game. That just progresses the age a bit too much. Definitely speeding this up will be helpful, but I don't want to lose this one after all the influence I've spent on it. So I just have to be very careful. Hello, Machiavelli. Now that we've basically got all of the specialist limits in this age, best thing to do now is to start looking for things that increase yield. So extra production here, extra gold, etc. And of course, anything that would unlock any wonders I could build. And I will start trading. That much I'm guaranteeing now. Culture, well on our way. Economic, well on our way. Military, I think once we spread religion, we're basically going to be there. And science nearly there as well. So I think this is going reasonably well. Right, let's think how we're going to start spending some of this gold. Trader. Just going to go around, get a merchant absolutely everywhere. This turn.
Social pact. Matsuya.
Ah. They became friendly just as they were starting to attack, so problem solved. 2 cottons. Yeah, circumnavigated the world, and surprisingly few treasure. Tree-wise, got to have 2 more distant land settlements with my religion, basically. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I need 2 more, 5 and 6. Or, of course, I can go and conquer. I'm not really unfriendly with them. So the question is where? I mean, that's a big landmass. Not many interesting things there, though. Let's try and find the next one. Here, maybe? There, with the fish and the jade.
From the new land.
Do I really want such an aggressive settlement? I think the answer is yes. Let's befriend them next, or them next.
Mortal ripens like when monks.
Let me just double check. I think I've got already... No, I need 1 more tile that's got 40 yield. Culture, I definitely need to convert more religion. And military is well on its way now, so... Not a lot to do, really. Missionaries and... merchants. That's going to be the name of the game right now. Forbidden City. And unhappiness. I don't think I have unhappiness anywhere. So, let's use it in my towns with production. None of them are not in my homeland, so I should actually probably optimize this at some point. I'm essentially just debating whether I want to settle in place, which feels sensible, or actually go and pursue here. But I'm not seeing the value of this right now. I think consolidating my holdings here for the next age makes more sense at this point. Look at that, those yields. We're really going to turbocharge through the science tree at this rate. I think slowing us down is probably more sensible.
From the new
What gives me the most amount of culture? Menagerie.
the best.
You know, at this point we've completed the science victory, so just go for yields really. Don't have to worry about anything else. And complete as many wonders as we still can. I'm gonna flood the world with my religion now. You see, you can carry some of these through to the modern age. So having my religion basically established everywhere actually will give me a bit of an edge going into the next stage. So I'm essentially starting to prepare for that. You may have noticed that with the merchants, I've been building roads everywhere.
Is the treasure.
That also gives me a bit of a leg up. Hey. We need 30, I believe we're at 20. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So a few more treasure fleets and we've got this. 1, 2, 3, I mean that will basically get us there.
Colonialism.
Make sure I pick up all the extra limits. Don't want to miss out on any of those before the age. Deliberately going to try and slow down my science now. Given I've basically completed and I'm researching future tech, which just advances the age. As you can see, we've been converted, so we're going to have to be very careful now about retaining our religion going into the next age. I think that's a couple of wonders I haven't actually tried to build yet. Right, we are on the verge of economic victory, so I'm gonna start storing up my treasure fleet. Slow down my science? Absolutely. So, we're gonna have to plan our victory very carefully. We're at 27 of 30. That's 29 of 30. So I'm going to put the rest of my treasure fleets to sleep. Basically focus on building out my empire a bit more. Just checking. Yeah, home is closer this way, so fishing key that side, please. And I'm not actually going to even bother with treasure fleets, because I think actually I'm going to convert to a city, build my unique district, and focus on the gold to make things a bit cheaper, which I'm actually going to do straight away, since it should make these purchases immediately cheaper, which I believe it has. I think the answer is we don't have any. Anything that will boost culture? No. Not really. Not materially anyway. Have I basically got everything that I want from here? I think the answer to that is largely yes. I can basically complete these two, then we're on to future civics, aren't we? Avoid completing. Right, next turn we're going to get a few of these. Right, 3 turns. Can I slow down my 8 progression enough for 3 turns? That's kind of the question, I think, of the day. I need to defend my religious. Yeah, use it now. It's the entire map now nearly revealed. I have to try and slow that down a bit. So I've got 1 wonder for 3 turns. I'm not sure we're going to get there. There's another wonder for 1 turn. Let's see if we can spend this gold on anything useful. White Tower. Very careful here with this missionary that's next to me. Make sure that I'm ready to convert anything back, since it's going to complete any day now. And that's going to get me to 100%. Almost certainly next turn, so let's just see what happens.
Oh, ye conqueror.
That is 100%, yeah. I'm not going to be able to complete it. Why can't I convert this turn? There. Be very careful. Any religion? Anywhere? Get this as well. 5 attribute points. I mean, none of this right now matters, since it is the last turn, but I want to make sure. So we're going to carry this bonus into the next stage. So choosing something that would give me extra yields, I think is going to be quite helpful. Extra happiness, yeah. And resource-wise, we're done. That's basically the end of the turn. However, remember, we held on to some of these treasure fleets for exactly this reason. And that's all 12 points completed. Now we've got 10,000 gold that we're not going to carry through to the next stage. So one thing that I find quite helpful to spend your gold on in the last turn is just load up on units. You can carry some of these into the next era. So having a bit of a defensive force, not a bad thing. Excuse me whilst I go ahead and do just that. the exploration has come to an end. We have basically revealed the entire map, converted pretty much everybody to our religion, and it will set us up for success in the modern age. Hope you guys enjoy this episode, and let me know down in the comments what you'd like to see change. See you back soon. Bye-bye for now.